thank you, Pak Raymond. Thank you very much for Dasun Foundation for inviting me. Then also thank you, my thank personally to you. Still give me a chance to work with you and to work how to enhance and strengthen the cooperation between Hong Kong and Indonesia. So this pandemic also give us some positive aspect. So wherever I'm as a diplomat, so I can promote Indonesia from wherever I went and towards country they want to be. So this is some things that we have to thanks that to have this opportunity. I'm trying to share some thought to this seminar. This is related to Indonesia and Hong Kong, and particularly for the prospect of the infrastructure cooperation. And I will try to approach from my latest experience as a diplomat for about 3 years as advisor to the Minister of Transport, and I'm serving 2 Minister of Transport. And I hope that my thought or my experience to share this one will be useful and give benefit to all of us here. I'm trying to share the screen, so hopefully then I can make it. Yeah. This is some things that we would like to share, and I've been given the topic that prospect of Hong Kong and Indonesia cooperation in infrastructure. So as you know, that is Hong Kong Indonesia economic relation is well established. So as I said, since I was serving my consulate general in Hong Kong back in 96 2000, so I have a very good time at the time. So I came about 7 months before the handover, and then together working with Raymond, so we are passing the economic crisis in 97. So I was in Hong Kong as economic officer, working for my government when we had this annual World Bank and IMF meeting in Hong Kong. That also gives another aspect that how I can learn about Hong Kong. So Indonesia and Hong Kong is always work together to strengthen. It's not only for bilateral but also for the integration of the economic in the region. And particularly, we work in APEC. I mentioned specifically in APEC because when I'm back from Hong Kong, so I served in Jakarta as Deputy Director for APEC. So it is some things that I can relate on the detail about the economic, the bilateral relation. So I believe this later on Mr. Yomi will explain to you all. And to me, to see that what is the strength of Hong Kong? Yeah, as you know that we all know that Hong Kong is global and regional financial center, and the most important thing is Hong Kong is the main bridge of global economy to China. Yeah, so this is undeniable things, and this is my personal experience since I was in Hong Kong since in 96. Yeah, so Hong Kong is really resilient to endemic, pandemic, and also economic crisis. This is my true witness of Hong Kong. Yeah, so you've been part of these things. Yeah, during SARS in the beginning, back in the mid-90s. So this is something is very what do you call it? Is very valuable asset for Hong Kong dealing with the future. And of course, Hong Kong is a reliable partner and always play a major role as source of investors. And talking about, as Dr. Harry just mentioned about what is the project available, particularly in his portfolio in the Ministry of Public Works and Housing. But I just would like to mention, this is very important for you if you would like to explore the opportunity in Indonesia on infrastructure. This is just being mentioned and stated by the President on the 16th of August last week. This is the President annual speech on the Parliament. So there are, as Dr. Harry said, that to see the project, we have to know how the government will budget it for the infrastructure project. And of course, we develop 30% of the budget from the government, and then the other is from the PPP model or from private sector. And Indonesian budget 2022 is where we focuses on people's health protection and economic recovery. So there are 6 priority of focus. First, continue on health sector. So as you know, it is huge budget allocated for this. And second one is prioritizing for the social protection. So this is maybe some social infrastructure will be built, and strengthening human resources. Yeah, this is some things that I believe Hong Kong has also had advantage because it's very focused on how to make Indonesian human resources will be excellent and more competitive. And I will talk later on about this, how this infrastructure will be available. And the fourth one is continue developing infrastructure and increasing capability to adapt technology. So this is the priority you have to focus and look at where's the government project will be available in the next year budget. And of course, this is some things that to strengthen our financial system, they're strengthening fiscal decentralization. So this is purely devoted how to make the equal distribution of development. So this will be also important not only next year, but will be the following years in terms of infrastructure. And of course, this one is the budget reformation will be continued as well. I just would like to mention about the importance of our new law. This is omnibus law. It was enacted the end of last year, and then how it will relate directly to the Indonesia's infrastructure development. So as you know that omnibus law is basically the integration of so many government regulation in order to strengthen the economy of Indonesia by increasing competitiveness, creating jobs, and making it easier to do business. You will find you have to would like to ask more for this. I think all embassies, all consulate general being provided with this information. You can get some directly more information from our office in Hong Kong, in consulate general. But of course, you may also can get this information from other sources. You can also email me, and I can provide also to share what is this omnibus law. So this is basically, in terms of the investment or infrastructure is to stimulate the domestic and foreign investment, and then of course it how to attract the investor itself. I just would like to mention one specific things about this omnibus law. So through this new law, so now is the Indonesian government to create the institution related to the Indonesian Sovereign Wealth Fund. So it is being established in beginning of this year. So we call it the Indonesia Investment Authority. So on top of in the past we only have the Indonesian Board, Investment Board. So now using this law, the Investment Board has increased as the Ministry of Investment. So the Ministry of Investment just dealing with the policy, planning and everything. But to facilitate the investor itself, this Indonesian Investment Authority is established. So it is launching in February 2021. It targeted to manage 24.5 billion US dollar. So the foreign fund will be the co-investment to finance Indonesia's economic development. So as being explained by Dr. Harry just now, that the upside down pyramid will be worked on that way. If I'm not mistaken, at the beginning of the launching, this IIA already have commitment for around 10 billion US dollar from several foreign financial, and the government itself will provide with 5 billion US dollar. So this is very important on this to this discussion. How then Hong Kong take advantage of this new law? Then let's see, just briefly with this current situation, with this 6 focus of the government budget next year, what is the prospect? Yeah. So I'm just trying to just for the sake of discussion from the as academic discussion. So if we see the focus on health protection and economic recovery, so we can immediately see next year government will spend a lot of government spending for building, strengthening for health infrastructure. So this is something that you have to look at if you would like to see on the short term. So other thing for the economic recovery, since we are using a lot of digital economy for our economy, so I share with you here is just several like Gojek, Tokopedia, Bukalapak, Blibli. This is all the what do you call it, the digital platform for our economy. So in soft infrastructure related to digital economy, it will be opportunity available in Indonesia. And I know Hong Kong has advantage and strength on this. Then for the long term, as being mentioned by the president in his speech, that the infrastructure development will be continued, although we are still working with overcoming the pandemic impact of COVID-19. But as being also stated by Dr. Heri just now, that his ministry keep on continue having those projects in the future. So this is give assurance to our partner, particularly from Hong Kong, that we continue for our economic recovery and development of infrastructure. And also, people keep asking us as Indonesian, is Indonesia will continue with the development of new capital in Kalimantan? Yes, the answer is yes. Yeah. So that will be continued. And then I will share with you then how this new capital city of Indonesia will, can be beneficial for Hong Kong, and how then we can build the connectivity infrastructure in that. And particularly related to this new capital city with Hong Kong and the Pacific region. If we see the location of the capital city, if you can see the map of this, so the new capital will be in Kalimantan. Yeah, it is in Kabupaten Kutai Kartanegara. It is in Borneo. And then where this Kalimantan Island, if we would like to see it from Hong Kong. So this is the map of Indonesia. So if you go north, this is directly will goes to Hong Kong. Let's see, this is the Pacific Ocean here. So this is from here, it goes, that's from Hong Kong. So it means the new capital will be closer to Hong Kong, compared to Jakarta. And what will be how then we can see it? I'm seeing this from the perspective transportation, particularly from the seaport connectivity. So this is the location of the capital city here in Kalimantan. There is number of seaport here, which is this is the outlet for our many mining, LNG, coal here in this island, yeah, palm oil. So will be a huge opportunity in Kalimantan. So on top of the construction opportunity for the investor for the city itself. So the city itself is also in the focal point is the Ministry of where's Mr. Harry working for. So you can ask the information about this possible cooperation in building the city itself. But building the connectivity of the city within the island and with the region, particularly to Hong Kong, that also provide huge opportunity. So within the island, this will be a lot of opportunity to build the freight railway transport. So as building in Kalimantan, this is huge area. It's our biggest island in Indonesia. Has a lot of plantation, lot of minings. They need transportation of railway to bring to the port. That will be very, very important to see in the future. And of course, if you see this is the province of the new capital. So there will be a lot of opportunity to build the toll road here. Yeah? So I believe there is no yet proposal, but as Mr. Harry was saying that if you would like to have an unsolicited project, you can work on this. Then the infrastructure will be built around the new capital city, will connect the eastern part of Indonesia to the world. And then how this will be connected to Hong Kong. You can see this is some that I'm trying to enlarge the map, yeah, just map from Hong Kong. So you can see here, yeah, this is the region with the red, the island of Kalimantan with the red highlighted red. Red is I look it from the Google map. This is the location of the ports that we have in the eastern part of the eastern coast of Kalimantan or Borneo. So this is directly to Hong Kong. Yeah, it's much closer, so you can open. And we have also the port here is developed in Sulawesi as a Bitung. We connected with ferry to the Philippines. So if strengthening this port, so we during my time at the Ministry of Transport, so we are basically anticipating for the development of new capital. We are strengthening the port since a couple of years ago and anticipating this area will be open directly to Hong Kong. So what is the advantage for the future? So since Hong Kong is the one of the big the largest transshipment port in the region, but also it will be good. Huge activity from this part, eastern part of Indonesia through Hong Kong, and then goes the way to the west coast of United States. And I have personal experience talking about this seaport infrastructure. So I'm not trying to promote the company names, but just for the sake for this discussion, how then we can develop this connectivity from Indonesia all the way to the west coast and then through Panama Channel to the east coast of the United States. So when Tanjung Priok opened the new port, it's called the Kali Baru, which have the 14 meters draft. So the big vessel can berth in this. So we work with the CMA CGM shipping line to open the route from Jakarta, Tanjung Priok, and then goes to the Vietnam and Thailand, and then all the way to the west coast. So what they brought about 1/3 capacity of the big vessel from the US and the Vietnam to Jakarta. But when they went back to United States, they bring more freight container to bring our frozen seafood to the West Coast. Then this company for the long term will work with the better freeze container. They will bring the frozen seafood to the West Coast because it will be longer time to travel to the East Coast of the United States. So during that time, if I'm not mistaken, that was 2017 or 2018. So in 2018, the export for this shipping line was increased by 40%. So it's huge, yeah, opportunity. So what I'm trying to say that for similar things, we can develop this connectivity from this Kalimantan through Hong Kong and then all the way to the US. That there's some picture with you here, and this is big LNG facilities in Badak, also in this area, yeah. And this one is our port container port in Bitung, yeah. So it is once that the economic in the eastern region was developed, we need to expand it, and this one is our seaport, which is close to the airport in Tarakan. This is one island here. This is also one of the oil and gas production, and this one is our port in Balikpapan, where we call it the capital of our oil and gas city. So other things that I would like also to mention that as I mentioned before, that development of railway within the island of Kalimantan is also will be a very a good opportunity. Yeah, in my opinion, you don't have to wait until the capital city is built to find out and then to develop this railway development within Kalimantan, connecting to the several ports in the east coast of Kalimantan. You may start it now because all of those regulation for the local government and local private sector, whether this is domestically, regionally, or internationally, all of this regulation available to build unsolicited railway transport in Kalimantan. So while I'm thanking you, just would like to give the highlight of these two maps, yeah, and how our infrastructure development will be can be connected to Hong Kong, and then how the Hong Kong investor or our partners in Hong Kong will be benefited for our infrastructure development in Indonesia. So as you can see, this is Kalimantan. This is the biggest island of archipelagic of Indonesia, and the new capital will be here. And then this is us here, Indonesia, and then Hong Kong is here, and then this is the Pacific region. We are an APEC member. So what we are, our APEC vision for the economic integrity in the region, so it never stop or providing the potential. So the Indonesian new capital is this new infrastructure will be built by the government, will provide a lot, and I think that this will be huge opportunity to Hong Kong. And I see, the connectivity of this region, particularly the marine transport connectivity is the strength or advantage not only of Hong Kong but also for Indonesia. So I have, as Raymond was saying, that my time in Hong Kong, I learned about how the connectivity of port in Hong Kong in the Panama Channel and also in the Caribbean area. So that's the Hong Kong strength that you have, not only from Hong Kong to China, but also from Hong Kong to the US. So we can work together, Hong Kong in the middle, Indonesia on the east side, and US in the west side. So we can, Hong Kong can connect us to prosper together. Thank you very much.
I hope you will also include tourism facilities on the Kalimantan.
There is one island in the between the near Balikpapan. Yeah, it's very beautiful. It has the white sand and it's promoted by the provincial government, and we have a number of ready airports in the region. So all airports in that region is already with more than 2,000 meters of runway. So if there is direct flight from Hong Kong to that all airports in that region, it will be available. So I may suggest, I'm not trying to not promoting Bali, but if because of the budget constraint, just to close that, so go to this region to enjoy the white beach will be also available. Do not wait until the new capital was built, but you can go now. The local government will be happy to help you. One thing that I just want to mention that I know the government of Banjarmasin is trying to develop their hospital to become international hospital. So this is also a very good opportunity for the Hong Kong investor in the hospital infrastructure in that region, and they are promoting. They are ready to have this what do you call it, this a foreign investor. I myself here through Zimbabwe. Now I'm working for the syndication of investor to invest in the hospital in Bali. So they need around $30 million to enhance the capacity. So I'm working with some this company from Zimbabwe, from Dubai, and also from London, and then working with one PT Wijaya Karya. They are ready to work with us. So we are using the PPP and the private together, like what Mr. Harry was saying. But this is an hospital. You can use this model. So I'll be glad to talk to you. Then I can share with this opportunity.
Very good. So we can have actually some tripartite or quadripartite cooperation involving different places. Yeah. I heard you also mentioned about railway, and I'm sure you know Hong Kong is very good in the TOD development, transport-oriented development, combining railway and real estate development. There's another area Indonesia could work with Hong Kong. And just for the audience information, from my understanding, the migration of the capital actually will involve infrastructure to the tune of $33 billion, if I'm not mistaken. And the new cities to be built on Kalimantan will house around 6 to 7 million people. And the migration will start, if I'm not mistaken, again in 2024. So please sit tight. It is a very important stimulating project to come.